Listen up, defenders. We are jumping right into this explainer because I am issuing an urgent Code Ninja security advisory regarding CVE 2026-2020-45. My objective right now is absolutely clear: to force immediate triage and protect your enterprise perimeters. We're tracking a critical, actively exploited zero-day vulnerability affecting multiple Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN components. If you are managing routing infrastructure, you need to be on high alert today because threat actors are actively leveraging this to compromise network integrity.
And look, this threat escalated incredibly fast. This isn't just some isolated incident. It's the culmination of a multi-stage attack campaign. The precursor vulnerability CVE 2026-21-27 has been leveraged by a highly sophisticated actor since way back in 2023. Fast forward to May 2026, and Cisco observed another precursor CVE 2026-2082 actively exploited as a zero-day. This all led to the public disclosure of our current nightmare on June 4th, with no initial patch available. By June 9th, CISA officially added it to their known exploited vulnerabilities catalog.
Now, the crucial point here is that this authenticated privilege escalation flaw carries a massive CVSS base score of 7.8. This represents a severely high-severity threat to your edge devices. While it is technically classified as a local attack vector requiring low privileges and no user interaction, the impacts on confidentiality, integrity, and availability are all rated as high. When an attacker successfully leverages this, they effectively get the keys to the kingdom. A 7.8 score requiring zero user interaction is the exact kind of low-maintenance exploit an attacker loves and a defender absolutely dreads. All right, before we get into the technical mitigations, we're initiating a brief tactical pause for a comms check. You got to establish your secure communication link right now by subscribing to @cybertech79 and enabling those notifications. Consider this a security necessity for real-time intelligence because the threat landscape literally changes by the minute. Next, hit the like button to formally acknowledge receipt or ACK this advisory. Let's ensure our comms are solid. Okay, let's initiate the deep dive protocol and actually define the exact blast radius of this vulnerability. Because the exposure here is massive. We're not talking about one obscure piece of hardware. The vulnerability impacts the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN controller, formerly vSmart, the SD-WAN manager, formerly vManage, and the SD-WAN validator, formerly vBond. And honestly, it doesn't even matter where you're hosting them. The blast radius covers all deployment types: on-premises, Cloud Pro, Cisco Managed Cloud, and even highly secure government FedRAMP environments. If you run Cisco SD-WAN, you are in the crosshairs. We really must understand the mechanics of this exploit if we're going to properly defend the network. And it comes down to CWE116. Basically, this is an improper encoding or escaping of output vulnerability. Specifically, this flaw resides right within the command line interface, or CLI, of the affected SD-WAN components. This is a foundational software weakness that allows an attacker to manipulate the underlying system commands. Breaking that down a bit further, the bug exists because of insufficient validation of user-supplied input. An authenticated local attacker can completely bypass standard restrictions by simply uploading a maliciously crafted file to the affected system. The system fails to properly sanitize this input, which completely sets the stage for total compromise. Now, this vulnerability definitely doesn't exist in a vacuum. Let's break down the required attack chain. To achieve arbitrary command execution as the root user, which, let's face it, is the absolute worst-case scenario, the attacker has to move through a very specific sequence. First, they need net admin privileges. Second, they utilize those privileges to upload their crafted file. Third, the improper encoding flaw triggers, granting them command injection capabilities as the root user. Once they hit step 3, it's game over. They own the appliance. You might be wondering, how are they getting those net admin credentials in the first place? Well, threat actors are securing them by exploiting a couple of specific precursor vulnerabilities. They're chaining authentication bypass flaws, specifically CVE 2026-2012-7, which has been leveraged by sophisticated actors since 2023, or CVE 2026-2182, the zero-day observed in May 2026. They use these older bugs to pry the door open just enough to execute our current high-severity flaw. All right, let's shift from theory to real-world exploitation telemetry, as reported by Mandiant. Because this isn't just some proof of concept sitting in a lab. Threat actors have already successfully leveraged this bug out in the wild. Cisco's telemetry confirms that in limited cases, attackers actually use this exploit to push malicious configuration changes directly to edge routing devices. They are actively manipulating network traffic and configurations right now.
Defenders, it is time to execute your incident response and patching protocols.
And I need you to listen closely to this highly critical warning directly from Cisco. Blind patching will not evict an attacker who has already established a foothold. If your system is already compromised, simply running a software update is going to leave the attacker safely inside your network. You cannot patch your way out of an active breach. Therefore, you absolutely must follow a strict incident response action plan. First off, do not upgrade immediately if you suspect a breach. Second, you must preserve forensic evidence by issuing the request admin tech command on all control components before you do anything else. Only after preserving those indicators of compromise should you upgrade to the fixed software that Cisco started releasing on June 10th. After patching, rigorously verify the configuration of all your edge devices. And finally, if you find that your system is already compromised, you gotta urgently engage the Cisco Technical Assistance Center, or TAC, for specialized remediation. As we wrap up this explainer, we really need to contextualize this within the framework of our community ethics. We're broadcasting this intelligence loudly under the principles of Coordinated Vulnerability Disclosure, or CVD. We do this because you, the defenders, need the unvarnished factual truth to protect your enterprise systems. Disclosing these details forces necessary vendor remediation and ensures that the entire cybersecurity community can lock down their perimeters before the threat actors can scale their attacks. With CISA's strict June 23rd compliance deadline looming over the industry to secure or disconnect these devices, the ultimate question remains for your organization. Are your edge devices already compromised, or will you execute the admin tech protocol and patch in time? Don't wait on this. Execute your response plans now. Stay secure